Hi, Bo here from High-Tech Investment, and welcome back to the channel where we are today going to talk about the Profit Retriever EA. So the Profit Retriever EA we started off with back in March 2022. We started off as a beta version, and later on it became alive very shortly after. The robot comes from Expert4X, and we have quite a few of those robots. We have tested quite a few of them over time. But this robot seems to be taking the prize, and as you can see, a price of more than $100,000 in the time we have traded it is quite remarkable. Now, when we started, we only started with a couple of currencies, and that was gold, that was silver, British pounds, USD, and CAD Swiss francs in the first couple of weeks. And then as we gained more experience and learned the robot, we had basically added in further currencies. We even have the US 30 index also trading. And in the last couple of months, we have also tried the Bitcoin USD. So they all seem to be working in different ways, shapes and forms. But the overall is that profit is coming in and the robots are extremely stable. Obviously, it takes a lot of hard work. It's not a set and forget robot, far from it. But we have managed to deal with the funny ups and downs of this particular robot. It is a heavy drawdown robot, and many people might not like this, but at the end of the day it closes the trades in profit, and that's what we basically like. So now a couple of weeks ago here we already sent out a post saying the first 100,000 was made, and it was made only in end of March until 2 weeks ago, so end of October. And in that period of time we started off, as we mentioned, just with a couple of EA's robots, and then we have extended on it. And so even the 218 days it has taken us to get here, most probably we could have done it a heck of a lot faster if we have decided to put all 18 robots on at the same time. But this is a learning curve, and obviously these things take time to make sure that you also get some good stable profits. Now, Forex trading is obviously extremely difficult and very dangerous in that sense that 70 to 80% is losing their money in the Forex trading most of the time. And most people most probably have tried different set and forget robots over time that give them a bit of profit, and then all of a sudden they completely blow the accounts. Now we also have a different setup, and definitely we have a close look at our risk management, which is constantly being adjusted, and we're going to talk a bit about that in the video in here. Obviously not everything has been positive either, so we're going to drill into the negative side of the robot itself, especially on one of the accounts that got blown, and see how bad it actually was and if we could learn anything out of this. Then on top of it, obviously we're going to have a look at the portfolio approach we use, and also we're going to have a look at the monthly profits that are coming in, and they are quite substantial. So let's get started. But before we get started, it's important we just go through the risk disclaimer and then we get going.
The data on this website is for your information only. It does not constitute professional investment advice or advice on tax or legal matters. Please remember that all investment strategies and investments involve risk of loss. Nothing contained in this video should be construed as investment advice. Any reference to an investment's past or potential performance is not, and should not be construed as, a recommendation or as a guarantee of any specific outcome or profit in the future.
Now, with the risk disclaimer out of the way, let's have a very quick look exactly how this robot works. Again, we have multiple videos of this before where we go into additional detail, but this is a martingale strategy. And the normal martingale strategy we have here in red, and that normally means that when you go in, you set a buy example for this, and we have used a lot size of 0.1 in this particular case. And if the price goes with you, you cash in, and that's the end of the story. You start over again. But if the price goes against you, what you then do is you put another 0.1 lot size in here, and the price goes against you down because you set your first buy. You put in a grid size, so it means again you decide when the next one will be, and since the price is hitting this one here, you will put in a second buy. But now you will basically double up the initial lot size. So now it goes up to 0.2. If the price continues to go against you, you will then again hit the next grid level here. And that will now mean that you will set another buy in here. And this time around, you will now be at 0.4 lot. And it will continue so if the price continues to go against you up to 0.8, 1.6, and obviously it goes faster and faster, and the lot size is extremely big and heavy and can give you some serious drawdowns. The good part here is that because of this particular strategy, that means at some point you're going to win if you have enough money, and obviously that will be the issue most of the time. But as soon as you have a small retracement in the price for the currencies you are trading, then you can close out on a small plus, and from there on you basically start your trading all over again. So that is the initial martingale strategy. Now Expert Forex in their wisdom has done this a lot more refined, so that doesn't mean that you normally double up every single time you have it. You can actually use a percentage, and you can also adjust the grid size both in the beginning, at the end, and there's a lot of different ways of doing that, and that's where the clever part comes in, where you're gonna do a lot more positive than negative. Now on top of that, what you saw here also when we are doubling up every single time, that means that is the normal martingale strategy, and we are using the opposite strategy where we actually start with the maximum lot number that we want to use, and then we reduce it with a certain percentage. In this particular case, we have said we want to maximum start off our lot size with 0.2, and then we're going to reduce it with 90%. 90% means 90% of 2. So as we put in the first buy up here, you will normally do 0.2, and if the price goes with you, you will cash in at the next grid level. Again, if it goes against you, you will then come down here, and instead of the 0.2, you will now have 90% of 0.2, which is 1.8, and you'll put that lot size in here. If the price continues to go against you, we'll go down here, and instead it will now be 90% of 0.18, which is 0.16, and we'll continue to go down here lower and lower, and that means also that your risk is actually minimizing. So even though obviously here you are still in a drawdown, but again, small retracement, and you will get out of this particular trade and you'll start over again. So those are the simple parts within the EA itself. Now the way everything has been set up, and we also have a couple of videos showing you this, is that we start off with optimized settings, which is the green one here, and we do a lot of back testing for 6 to 12 months. And if the testings fail, okay, you put them in the garbage bin and you don't talk anymore about it. Now the best settings that look promising, you take those and you put them on a demo account, and in this particular case we use $10,000, which is the recommended minimum to use, and that's also how we set up the lot sizing for the individual accounts. Now these demo accounts obviously start trading, and this is now what we call forward trading, where we can see the real trading goes on. And what normally happens here is that if they fail, you take them to the hospital. In this case, it will be me that goes and analyzes the settings of what went wrong, what can we do better. Might not be that they're crashed, but simply they're not making a lot of money. So we fix the settings and we put them back into the demo account again. Now when we are happy with them, we can then take the best ones, so into real live accounts with real money, and then trade them there. Now normally we wouldn't take the failed settings and put them straight in the bin, so we would have managed that already with the demo account before. But if we have failed settings, they will show up still both on the demo account and also here on the live account. So it means they will go back to the hospital. You will have a closer look at them to see if lot size has to be smaller, if it has to be bigger, if the profit is too small here, and also changes of grid sizing and you fix that setting, you add it into the demo account and then put it over for the live account to trade, and you continue to adjust this depending on the different market. So at times you obviously have sideways markets and you have trending markets, and the robot needs to know roughly, you need to tell it, so what kind of markets it's in, and that's why it's trending markets. You need bigger grid sizes, smaller lot sizes, and when it's sideways, which is the one it really loves here, to trade sideways in a volatile way, it will cash in quite a lot, and you can then make smaller grid sizes, but you have to watch the market at all times. Now we have a good example here, and this was a while back, so this was back in October. We didn't have a complete crash of this particular account, but we did have a margin call, and if we have a closer look at it, we can see there was a drawdown up here and one trade ended, and since then it was trading quite nicely. It was trading sideways here for a very long time, and then at the red marker we have here, that is basically where I put another buy in, and then very quickly the price dropped, and since there was no retracement in sight, it just continued going down and down, and the drawdown became bigger and bigger. At the end of the day, we ended up in the orange section here, where the account went into a margin call, and basically it closed a couple of accounts, and that's why you don't see the green lines up here. That was previously. It closed some of those open trades, and basically that's how the broker normally manages the margin calls. Since then it then retraced a bit, and up here we were again, as you can see on the balance, 6,500, or if we have a look at the margin, the equity here, it was 6,793. So we didn't lose everything here. We could obviously stop the trading and take out the part, and only losing the 3,300 here. So different strategies, of course. Another thing could be that we would continue to let it trade, and if we have a look at the size, this is where we left it. So back then when you have the previous graph, so even though it went up here, we can now see that also it dropped back down again in the same fashion, so very quickly and very small retracements only. We put another robot after we had done some testing in, and it started to trade off. Again, this was not exactly sideways, but it wasn't trending heavily until it came over to this particular part, and then it started to do this again. Now this time around, the grid sizing was slightly larger, lot size was also different, and we had changed some moving averages that made it possible to continue to trade this particular one. So that is how you have to adapt and change to the individual currencies and also to the individual markets. Now when it comes to managing risk, so there's a couple of things that is very important to know about this EA. So obviously risk basically relates into drawdown for this particular robot. So when things are going against you, when things are trending, and that is where things are becoming dangerous. So one of the ways you can adjust this is your lot size. And again, it has to match the account size itself. And at the moment, most of the average lot sizes we're using is somewhere around the 0.2 mark for a $10,000 account. There is differences and discrepancies depending on if you are trading gold, silver indexes, things like this, and it also sometimes depends on your broker. So the lot sizing, obviously, if you cut the lot size in half, you also have your risk. The next part is obviously the grid size, and also here that if you open up the grid, so to double up, you will also have the risk here. But again, there is also a chance that the grid will simply be too big, so you have to go back and double check. You have to back test these things, because otherwise it might not be able to close if the grids are too big either. Now the next thing can be the account size, and obviously we always encourage people to minimum use $10,000 per account. If you don't have that, you can go and use a Cent account, and you will find more info on our website on that too. Now the account size, you can take it up to $20,000 instead. So if you have a drawdown of $2,000, it might not seem so much on a $20,000 account as to a 10, or you can even go to $30,000. There is plenty of ways to manage your risk. Now the last one, when you have all the other things in place, is definitely also a very important one, and that is set it up as a portfolio. Like we have done here, we have 18 different EAs running, because some of the ones will be in drawdown for long periods of time. It can be 1-2 weeks, it can even be an entire month before it comes back and maybe makes you $5 or $10, and then from there on the next month it might be doing extremely well and doing $1,000 or $2,000. So you never really know. And in order to get a stable income and also minimize the risk, in order not to just focus on one or two of the EAs that are making a lot of money, because all of a sudden you could run into a big drawdown and you won't make anything for weeks or months, or it could even blow your account if you are not careful. Now, and what does it mean to blow your account again within the Profit Retriever? Well, we have taken an example here from September, and we didn't really have anything on the live account for this, but we had a demo account running at the time. And as everybody knows, there was quite a few things happening in mid-September in the UK, so with prime ministers and their financial situation. And this basically shows up here where things went really, really wrong. So everything was trending in a positive direction. And then we had a huge drop and very small retracements only, and just continued to drop. And up until the second week here, we had, so this is 23rd of September, we basically ended up with this, and that particular demo account was blown long before it came down here, because this kind of a massive move in the market, very difficult to predict. Now, to sort of emphasize to you how often this happens, so this is the one we just went through in September. And if we have a closer look, we can see that only one time previously was back in March 2020. So this was where we had the bad news about COVID and the worldwide lockdowns. And such a crash here is going to be very difficult to predict for the robot. So from time to time, there will definitely be a robot or two that's going to crash, depending on the market situation, depending on the good or the bad news that are coming out. And that's exactly why you need a portfolio approach, to make sure that most of the ones will definitely make it through tough times, and you will limit the loss to only 1 or 2 accounts. Now, if we go to our website, you will find this particular page first. You click the portfolio button here, and then we have different projects at the moment. You scroll down until you get to the Profit Retriever and click that particular one. And in here you will then find more information on the EA itself, and also there are some copy trading links, so both are in here. We go over some different videos on how we develop this, and this particular video is the first one. So if you want to buy this EA yourself and set it up on an MT4 platform, then this is the video that you want to start off with. Now, on top of that, we have also weekly top 5 that we are posting. And if we have a look at the latest one, we can see that the Profit Retriever for week 44, the top 5 EAs was the US 30 at top here at 14.6%, Euro USD 6.9%, and overall for the entire part of the top 5 EA, we made $3,989 or 8%. So definitely not bad, and obviously something you can follow. So if you don't have enough money to trade all 18, then you can have a look and see which ones are the ones keep popping up every single time. Now, on top of this, in order to help as many people as possible with the robots, we have also taken videos from Expert Forex in here on how exactly to trade, and to give you a bit more information on how the Profit Retriever works, apart from our own videos. And in this one here, we also have Alex showing you how you can turn $200 into 20,000, and that's what we talked about earlier regarding the account sizing you can change. Now we have all the individual currencies here, and they lead you straight to the FX Blue, where you can have a look at the individual currencies. But the one we're going to look at today is our portfolio approach, and if you click this particular one here, you will now get FX Blue, which has the same information, but it now covers all 18 accounts. As you can see at the moment, the balance is now 293,000. It will tell you that the floating equity is in minus 25,000. So obviously, as we said, this is a heavy drawdown EA from time to time, and it can be difficult to live with if you're not used to trading like this. Close profits has now surpassed the $100,000 by far, and is now at 113,918. Monthly returns, it's 13.7%, and we're going to go into that a bit more detail because the monthly returns is going down. We're going to explain to you exactly why that is. Weekly returns is past 3%. Total returns is 154. So obviously this is doing quite well. Risk reward ratio also quite good, 8.5. Now all the portfolio is here, and we have individual links, and when you go to that link also, you can then click that and you can go and see each individual account. You can see the close profits that you have, and all of them are in green, but obviously you have also some minuses at the moment as we move forward. Now part of the stats that you have in here gives you a very good idea of how it is to trade the portfolio trading. You can see history is quite long now, 235 days. So this is not just a robot that works for a day or two. It has been extremely stable overall. Now, if we start just on a day-by-day basis, we can see it goes back here to mid-March. And this was started up, I believe, on a Friday. And then you can see profits are coming in on daily. We had one account that did have a margin call and also recovered, similar to what I showed you here earlier. We let it stay in there, so just to see if it recovered. It did, and since then it has been extremely stable. As we said, we put it into the hospital, we made some changes and put it back on again. It has worked exceptionally well. So there's quite a few days, but it doesn't really give you a good overview when you look at only days in here. So let's go to the weeks instead. And in here you can again see, so a couple of thousand. This is the minus week where we had the drawdown. And since then it has basically produced quite good numbers all the way through. And at the bottom here we can see last week we made 5,443. This week we are already up more than 1,000, and that's not too bad at all. Now, in order to get a better sort of description of what is actually happening, you have to go to the monthly profits. That is definitely the best way to look at this. Don't sit and stare at that on a day-to-day basis, because that will bore the crap out of you. Now, if we have a look, we can see April was quite good, and we didn't even have that many robots back then, but we also used a bigger lot size. So this was more than 14,000, 11, 16, 11, and then in August it was a very boring time, so there was not much movement, very low trading. Very low volatility, and when there's that, basically the profit retriever is not going to be able to do much about it. Since then, in September, we had also more EAs, so up to the 18 we have. It made $20,000, and then it has made even more here in October, and is now well on the way also for November. So with those kind of profits, there is definitely a good chance that you can survive, even if you have an account, and even two. So and you will still be okay. So that means it's not completely wiped out. You have 18 different accounts, and you could have 2 accounts go down basically each month without getting completely wiped out. Now, the point to take with you here also when you trade portfolio is that the monthly returns seems to be going down. And even though you are making good profits every single month, and there's obviously a reason for that, that is the way the FX Blue works. And I'll explain a bit about that, where if you have trading accounts of $10,000 within here, you can then see that we start off with a portfolio of 180,000. And if we then make $18,000 in the first month, that means basically we have done 10% return on the investment here. Now, obviously the 18 stays within the account. So now the full account is 198,000. And next month we make 18,000 again. But now this time around, because we have basically more in our portfolio, the return on the investment is actually only 9.1. Again, we take the 18,000, we put it in, so now our entire portfolio is worth 216,000, and we make another 18,000, and it comes down again to 8.3. So that's the reason why it slowly but surely is coming down, and obviously you cannot make any changes for this. But in real life trading, what actually happens here is, again, there's a couple of ways and opportunities of how to do this. So you trade with the $10,000 live accounts, and from time to time it is healthy to take some of the profits out. So you can either take it out, obviously, to your bank, or you can decide, okay, one of the ways is to build your portfolio. If you only start with, let's say, 2, 3, or 4 and can't afford any more, then when some of the different accounts is going up to, let's say you have 2 accounts with 15,000, you take the 15,000 off both, and now you have a new account you can build with $10,000. So that now means that you have an extra EA that will also provide you some extra income. And then on top of that, you will now have spread the risk also from your initial 4 or 5 accounts, whatever you have, into another account. So that is the way you can slowly and surely build up your portfolio over time. That is also how we do things. And when you then build up your portfolio, you basically have a look and see, okay, which accounts are doing quite well. You can see here the profit retriever for October. These are the top 5 on the monthly chart. And silver is the one that has topped out at 42.8%. Now these percentage marks that we have here, they are linked together with $10,000. So it doesn't matter if the silver account here now is more than 30,000. We are taking the profits up against the initial, because that is also the CopyLink service. We have to make sure that every single robot can fit within the $10,000 account mark, so the drawdowns will not give any other providers, so margin call. All of these has done extremely well, and if you would have traded these together with us here in October, just the 5 would have made $16,277 or 32.6%. So it is obviously quite heavy, and you can see there's a big difference between what the FX Blue portfolio is telling us. A lot of these accounts are doing a lot more, but as we are not taking the money out of the accounts, the percentage would just go down and down. So go in and have a look at the individual accounts instead, and have a look at the money itself it makes, and then take it up against the $10,000. Now, if all this sounds too difficult, then obviously you can go into our website again, and you can click on the CopyLink trading link instead that looks similar to this. And from there on, you will then be taken also to a couple of videos and sites where then Expert4X has some links where you can basically set it up. You don't even have to buy the robot. You simply just get your MT4 platform and a little program, and from there on we will do the trading for you, or somebody else will do the trading. So there is quite a few links in there. We just got the latest email from Expert4X, and now says the account service here has gone from strength to strength. Definitely there is more links in there now that you can link up with. So huge increase in linkable accounts. We are now past the 40 profitable accounts, and that has to be also over a certain period of time. And obviously there is highly average probability increase every week, so that is good to see. And also, since it started, it has now been 5 weeks, so overall probability on the accounts just continues on and on. So it has been a big leap forward, as also other traders are coming in and providing their signals. So definitely many of them have built up a long track record. You can see ours has been more than 200 days. Not all of our accounts, of course, so since we have been building up slowly but surely. But definitely this is another way of getting into trading. And obviously, even though you are copy trading, you need to understand exactly what this robot does and what are the dangers of this particular robot. So I hope you have a better understanding now of the Profit Retriever and what it actually takes in order to make the $100,000 here. It is not as simple as just plug and play, and this is obviously what a lot of people believe is happening, or at least they are looking for. We've never found a robot that can do that. We understand that there's quite a lot of work within this one, and understanding the risk within the robots is extremely important. That's also why we have built up the website with a lot of video material for you, so you can understand it both in our own videos and also through Expert Forex. We will continue obviously to monitor all the different accounts, and as we said, not always is it positive. We can blow an account from time to time, and that is exactly why you need the portfolio approach. You need to do a lot of testing, and you need to be ready also to understand that you could lose an account every couple of months. So make sure that you take every precaution before you start trading here. Otherwise, you can go into the copy trading, let somebody else do it for you. So that is definitely one of the two ways to go. So we hope you enjoyed this video. So please give us a thumbs up or a comment in anything for the video here, or anything you would like to see in the future regarding the Profit Retriever itself. So for now, I hope you enjoyed it, and see you on the next video. Bye-bye.